Omar's dog needed a really bad haircut, so I gave her a haircut.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
He's like, why is one side of her ear longer than the other? And I was like, it's an asymmetrical bob.
Oh my God, bitch.
Hold on 1 second. First off, bitch.
Why didn't you wait?
Because I gave her an asymmetrical bob.
Fuck the asymmetrical bob.
It's cute though.
I'm gonna beat your ass.
You can do nothing. It's cute.
When I get home, I'm gonna beat your ass, Patrick.
I layered her hair like it looks laid the best that we can do because she likes to fucking move around. So it's kind of choppy laid, but it's laid. I mean, she looks cute. You don't like the little asymmetrical bob I threw in? It's like bloop. Renee thinks it's cute. Renee thinks it's cute. He's like, that's cute.
It's that Rihanna
My
haircut.
dog has always had a great haircut because Daddy could afford a haircut.
Well, this time you can't because we're on a budget. So
I was gonna take her this week.
You got the Asian bolt cut.
I'm sorry. Love you.
What the fuck you said?
Okay, well I gotta go now. I'm doing the podcast.
Bye. Obviously, bye. Obviously.
Some bitches do, this bitch won't. Get up in my squishy sandwich without a quote. Ain't no need to flex, you ain't even in my zone. You be trying to go, we already on the road. Don't kiss no toes, I be sitting on my throne. Don't multitask, you already on hold. Know when to fold, this here is gold.
I'm not gonna lie, I just saw the video you sent. And your dog looks like she's about to ask for the manager, bro. She's got the old 35-year-old Karen. I drink champagne for breakfast. Look, you know. She looks like she spikes her orange juice with Xanax. You know, look at that. Look at that.
Oh my God, Patrick, you fucked her
that.
up.
You fucked her up, bro.
Oh my God. She's standing there with the look on her face too, like, what the fuck?
She's looking at you and she's like, let me speak to your fucking manager.
I like America's Next Top Model when they would give the girls like makeovers.
Yeah.
This looks like what gone wrong.
Yeah. You took the bitch with long hair and shaved all her head off and said, you're going to be a model now.
You gave her one of those, like, what they call fashion haircuts.
Yeah.
You're pushing the limits over here. Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Her little beard is all fucked up too. She like in these pictures you sent, she looks so done with it.
Yeah.
She's like one eye's all closed. She's like, look, just end me.
And they're animals. You probably threw her balance off. She's gonna be walking all wobbly now.
It's cute.
It's cute.
It's like,
in
well, blowing in the wind.
Well, thanks for the content for opening up this episode.
That was fucking hilarious.
I'm being threatened with having my eyebrows.
We should. I'll throw it up on Reddit Gets Drawn, and I'll be like, could you draw my dog with its fucked up hair, and then we could use the people's art for the podcast episode.
Yeah, actually, that's a brilliant idea. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, when I posted up the picture from my surgery after, like, literally like the day after.
Yeah.
Some dude commented on it, and he was just like, you should post to hot guys with tattoos. And I looked through it and I was like, oh, it's just a bunch of good looking gay dudes posting themselves completely naked with their tattoos. I was just like, I could do that. I was like, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I actually got hit on today for the first time in a hot minute.
Really?
2 times in one day. And I was just like, am I going to die? No, girls.
Oh.
Finally. I never get hit on by the female persuasion. Only guys. Only dudes like to hit on me. It's so weird.
I get hit on by girls, surprisingly. I never get hit on by guys.
You know what I think it is? I think it's the light that shines off your bald head and into their eyes. It brings their attention right to you, you know?
If you watch Pen 5 or Penis...
Penis, I haven't watched it
You
yet.
have to watch it. The first episode, the Asian mom takes a bowl and just cuts off her daughter's hair.
Dude, you know what? I gotta admit, although my parents weren't always the best, they did give me the ability to have a mullet at the sweet age of 2 years old instead of a shitty bowl cut.
Oh, really?
And I was just like, now that is a bitchin' choice.
When you're Asian in Texas.
Yeah. Actually, I was living up here at the time.
Oh, okay. So what is this episode about today? I don't know. Getting shit off your chest? Because I got something to get off my chest.
Do it, dude.
Patrick, since you're familiar with HIV and all that, I had a friend reach out to me. He's an active duty Navy. And he was recently diagnosed with HIV from a needle stick. So needle stick happened a few months.
Whoa!
Yeah, hold up. Trust me, I got pissed immediately. The needle stick happened a few months ago, and the doctor at the clinic he's at assumed because he was on Truvada that she shouldn't put him on antiretrovirals, and so she didn't. And so now he tested positive, and now his husband is positive as well.
Oh, fuck.
he said that he knew he wasn't taking it, but because the doctor assumed he was, she didn't put him in antiretrovirals within the 2-day window.
So was a needle stick, like when he was stuck, was that somebody who was positive?
I'm assuming it was a patient. He works in medical care.
But do they know if that patient had HIV?
Well, he said it was from the needle sticks. I'm assuming yes. What I'm calling into question is, should the doctor have gone with her assumption, or should she just have gone by normal treatment in any one of these cases?
No, she should have went with the gold standard, which is putting that person on, even though if they're taking Truvada. I mean, I don't know the necessary gold standard if you're on Truvada, but if you're on, well,
I'm sorry, but if you're a doctor, if I'm a doctor and you have a needle stick, or there's a potential risk of you being exposed to HIV, I don't care what you're on to prevent it. You're taking the antiretrovirals just in case.
Dude, the thing, right, is always ask. If you're unsure, fucking ask. If you don't know, ask.
Right, that's the thing.
A legitimate fucking human.
Yes. And now
you take your medication every day. No, okay, well then either we can do one or two things. It would be not advantageous to start switching up medications. It would be like, I'm going to prescribe you another month of Truvada, and you need to take your PrEP every single day now, especially that you've been exposed. I don't think that it would be advantageous to put him on like a full antiretroviral regimen. And again, I'm not a provider. I can't.
Well, I think the regimen is like, I think for a week or two or something, or like a few days that they put him on.
What medication? Is it just Truvada, or is it like an actual cocktail?
An actual cocktail that they put you on with. There's like a 2 or 3 day window that you from a needle stick, just in case there's any other like a Hep C or any other disease, that you can give them this to prevent it from actually becoming infected. Because the virus will be dormant in your body until...
Yeah, I mean, it normally consists of 3 anti-HIV drugs. So
for those of you that don't know, the way viruses work is once you get infected, you have like these little copies of these viruses floating around in your body. And so they're inactive technically, but once they are allowed time to incubate and basically copy themselves into the thousands, that's when you become full-blown infected. And so once you're prescribed these antiretrovirals, or if you prescribe these antiretrovirals within a certain window, you prevent that process from happening.
Right. Antiretrovirals stop the replication process of the virus, which is HIV.
Right.
So HIV is a very tricky virus because it's very intelligent, even though it's a virus, right? So
no, they're intelligent. It's what they are.
Right. Every virus's goal is to replicate, right? To make copies of itself. So typically, most viruses, if you stop one step of the replication process, that's it. However, HIV can find a way around one step of the replication process and continue on. So you have to utilize, it's been a while since I've talked about HIV, but there's multiple phases of the replication process, and basically an entire regimen of HIV drugs from different classes stop every single process of replication.
Yeah. Well, it's like the virus has a learning behavior is what it does. Viruses had learned to Yeah, go ahead.
It's about fusion of HIV to the whole cell surface.
Yeah.
The next step would be typically reverse transcriptase, integrase, and other viral proteins entering the whole cell.
Lab techs go all over again.
I actually pulled this up, so
Oh, okay. I was like, damn.
I'll have it for the show notes. I have a really good video that I used to use in presentations.
Okay.
You have the viral DNA being formed by reverse transcription. Then it's followed by viral DNA transported across the nucleus and integrates into the host DNA. So again, the HIV targets CD4 cells, right? So your fighter cells that help to protect your body from infection. So basically, it's integrating itself into that T cells DNA. Then basically, it creates new viral RNA that makes additional genomic RNA and viral proteins, and it begins to move to the cell surface and forming new immature HIV forms. And then basically, the virus is released, and they basically attach to other host cells. Now, in the process, it's not just one actual virus being released, it's multiple. So in that action, it's killing the host cell.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of people who are diagnosed in later stages of HIV disease are finding themselves immunocompromised. That's because HIV is replicating at such a great rate, and your CD4 cells just don't have any. They're just caught off guard.
Right.
Nothing that they can do about it.
Right. They basically implode, and yeah.
So like, I know that you've been on treatment before. Like, what's the future of, if you're comfortable answering the question, the future of people living with HIV?
A cure.
Well, now they're doing actual
human trials.
Yeah, so they're doing intermuscular testing now. So essentially, you'll come in, and that was actually, I don't know what phase they're in now, but I was around working in the field when they were just starting it. But now they're doing IM, or intermuscular injections. So essentially, you'll go in, you get a shot of your cocktail essentially, and you're good for 3 months or a quarter. So then you come back, you get another shot, and you're good for 3 months. So basically, they put so much medication on the intermuscular level that over time it just absorbs into your body, and basically that increases the likelihood of individuals staying adherent to treatment, and it also cuts out on the complexities of medication. Like, fucking bitch.
I actually had another question too after this.
So intermuscular injections are decreasing the likelihood of individuals falling out of care, and also it's creating a situation where you don't have to go take a medication every single night. So again, you take a shot, it may be like, I think tops 3 or 4 months, you come back into your provider, you get another shot, and you're out the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cures too, but again, with the cure situation, currently right now, the only situation where we're seeing individuals being cured is by bone marrow transplant, and that's just drastic.
What's the name of that? What's the actual name of that treatment? Stem cell.
Yeah, that's it. So, and we had Timothy Ray Brown that has been cured of HIV. I think another individual recently has been as well. But the difference is that these individuals basically had cancers, very aggressive forms of cancer. And I've met Timothy Ray Brown on multiple occasions. He's a really awesome guy, but you can tell, I mean, he's no jock. He's no, you can tell that he has, and I'm just being honest from my perception. You can tell that he's been through it. Like he's still having to take medication for the transplant. It's not a tool that you would want to use for every single person.
No, and the reason I'm glad you said that, because I had that perception when I first heard. I was like, well, why can't everybody just get cured? Well, I had a nurse sit down and talk to me, and she said, well, they were at the brink of death. This was their last option. Basically, they had to radiate them to the point where all their immune cells had deserted their body, had imploded on themselves, and then they inject the stem cells into you in hopes that the stem cell will replicate into the cells that they need to for you to survive. And in those 2 cases, they did. But no one wants to be radiated to, basically, you're not microwave, but you're irradiated to the point of death. And then you're going to hope that this transplant actually saves your life.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but HIV isn't that bad now because of medications, it's not that bad to the point where we need that, or you need to make that decision unless you're actually dying.
It's very drastic.
So Steve, you had another question?
Yeah. I don't know if this has already been asked, but like, the psychology behind like living with HIV, and like how does it affect your like day to day or your views on certain things? Like,
I think it's generational. I mean, if you look at people from the past,
because you have to think about it. If you're looking at individuals who were around during the AIDS epidemic, there are a lot of, especially specifically in cities like DC, major metropolitan cities, Chicago, DC, New York, San Francisco, you had a lot of individuals who went to funerals every single weekend. They lost their friends, they lost family members. So a lot of these individuals who are still alive, with or without HIV, are still living with survivor's guilt. Why not me? Why didn't I die? Why did my lover die? Why did my best friend die?
Or they're bitter towards the gays now who didn't have to live through that.
You have PrEP now. You have all this stuff. If we would have had that, we would have been here. Or why do you run around so free to not use a condom? Back in my day, it was a death wish. And when I've gone to conferences, and I've gone to even Black Pride here, or here in the district.
You froze.
Bitch, I was getting to a good point.
Yeah, I know. We were like, fuck, that was really
out.
good. Yeah, it just like randomly stopped. Oh. No, not again.
He froze again.
Wait,
you're back.
Okay.
You're
Don't
back.
come for my cricket internet.
You got cricket? I'm about to come for them.
And the rest of your crew, because I take your nigga and I keep mine too. If you want
What the hell?
Anyway, city girls.
Oh. Yes, act up. Oh, you get snatched up. Love that song.
Speaking of act up, so what I was saying was you have great people like Peter Staley who were living with HIV at the time with no functional cure, and no cure that could compare to anything that we're dealing with on a scale like today. And they were fighting for their lives. They were fighting for research to be, expedited. They were just fighting for their lives. And I mean, a lot of people today don't realize that history, because without people like Peter Staley, you wouldn't have a situation where we have the medication being every year we have a new HIV med that comes out. Before it was just fuck my life. It was just
fuck my
AZT.
life's a pretty good
It was just
medication.
AZT. That was it. And again, AZT was only one drug. It was ridiculously toxic, and it wasn't a comprehensive antiretroviral therapy. With that, you saw a lot of situations where people were not having functional successes with treatment because of the fact that AZT only stopped the one step of the process of HIV replication.
So that's crazy.
Where I am right now, it is very psychological because it's not so mainstream. I hate to say that, but you're not seeing celebrities dying from HIV. You're not seeing people like Elizabeth Taylor constantly having discussions, Princess Diana. It's taken a step back. And, the most recent person that we've had who's come out with their HIV.
Charlie Sheen.
Exactly. That's really one of the more greater people. And, that's a whole other situation too. I don't want to get into that because I don't want to bash his name, but what I'm saying is that we don't have positive conversations about it. So a lot of people, especially young people, fucking bitch ass train.
No, I was like, when you were like, yeah, Charlie Sheen's one of the greater people, I was like, in what way?
No, it's not. And I think when he did his interview, Charlie Sheen could have stepped up and owned it. And he did to some extent, but I feel like
Charlie Sheen, Magic Johnson, like those guys, like they're like real hidden about.
The thing about Magic Johnson is that when he found out he was HIV positive, he was a highly paid athlete, right?
Right.
So he had the money, he had the support of his team, his internal team. He was seeing the leading researcher, the leading doctor on HIV at the time. So I don't think it's a thing that he's cured. I just think that he's been in a situation because he had a documentary on ESPN that talked about this. And I think that Magic Johnson had the right team, the right money, and had the right socioeconomic status to be ahead of HIV and to be on top of HIV. Even today, up until I think a certain time period, I mean, he's the owner of the Lakers. He has ownership in the Lakers. This dude has money. So I think it comes down to it, socioeconomics impact how HIV affects you.
So translation, money can buy happiness when it comes to diagnosis.
Basically,
terminally ill diseases.
Basically, it's all about the right time, right place, right people, and right amount of money.
And think about it. Arthur Ashe was one of the greatest tennis players that we saw, especially a tennis player of color. But when you look at the financials, Magic Johnson, was making more in endorsements, more in the game of basketball than Arthur Ashe was doing. Also, I think it has to do also about how quick are you to get on the train of dealing with it and not grieving. Grieving is a process.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, we say it and it sounds easy, but it's not. It's supposed to be hard because finding people to support you when you're fucking sick is really hard. Because it's depressing to be around people who are sick or have an illness and are struggling. So, you have to spend time finding people who are willing to basically be at your side and be there for you. Right. And it's hard.
Right. And that goes with anything, even addiction. For me, certain friends during the worst of my addiction, stepped out of my life. And I don't blame them for it. I kind of respect them for it because they couldn't be the kind of friend that they were able to at that point for me. That's fine. But these complete group of strangers from Navy Safe Harbor stepped into my life and they saw something in me that I couldn't see through my addiction. And so they saw the future or whatever, and it was thanks to them that I kind of came through on the other side. So
Yeah, there's this great anime I love called Samurai Champloo. I love it so much I have it tattooed on my arm.
do you really?
Yeah, I have like the main character's sword tattooed through
So
the
out
samurai.
of all the Netflix bullshit you send me, you couldn't send me the one thing tattooed on you?
I mean, yeah, but it's not on Netflix anymore.
Oh,
But,
okay. I'm
um,
gonna have to watch it now.
Yeah, no, like the ending is very bittersweet. Like it's like it kind of like.
Well, he watched an anime too, right, Patrick?
I do. It just depends on the
Have you
type.
seen Samurai Champloo?
No.
It's amazing. So the ending is very bittersweet, and it's when I was younger, I didn't understand it. It hurt, but now that I'm adult, I'm like, okay, like at the end, they all go their separate ways, and it becomes something like people are like, oh, why isn't there a second season? Like, why don't they continue to hang together? And it's like they were in each other's lives for that time for a reason.
I need to watch this.
Yeah, and it's like it follows them struggling, having fun, doing all these things together and going towards one goal. But at the end of the day, it's like they're still going to always remember each other, and their paths might cross again later.
Yes.
But for the time being, it's like it's
this.
just time to just split apart. And I didn't understand that because I think I watched it when I was younger, and then I didn't finish it until I was in after boot camp. And when I finished it, I was just like, what? No, like no way. And now I'm like, damn, dude, that's just life. People come and go in and out of your life all the time, and it just depends on like.
It's kind of like if you take the string theory of galaxies and put it onto like actual in our real world reality, and you think of it as in this moment right now, we're all converged onto this podcast project. Well, in the future, let's say we're not together anymore. We'll have this point in time together. Mm-hmm. But then we will also go on our own separate paths where we'll meet new people in those realities. Mm-hmm. And they're just meant to be there. And this,
right.
And so that's something we need to accept. Not everybody can be that kind of friend. I always say that the best friendships are the ones you can pick up right up.
Yep.
Right where you left them off at.
Right. And it's kind of like a thing of like, bitch, when I become Beyonce, I'll bring y'all on stage every now and then. And I'll be sure to talk about you and support your projects. But there's just greater things in life for me. And I just have to let you go. It's okay.
You're like Rose on the Titanic. Goodbye, Jack. Bye-bye.
I'm going to live.
You could have fit on this door, but bitch, no.
There's enough room for both of us, but I had an extra donut on the ship, all right, before it went down. I went to the Alu snack bar and grabbed one.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's just crazy because it's like...
Patrick froze again.
Oh, man. At least he froze with that beautiful smile.
Yeah.
Look at him. He looks so happy. He looks like a little kid that just found the cake that wasn't eaten.
Oh!
He looks like the drunk roommate that found your old Chinese food in the back.
Oh, poor network connection. Must be that cricket, girl. Must be that cricket. He can hear us, too.
Right.
All right, I'll hang up and call him back.
Bitch, we're not talking about your Metro PCS Wi-Fi that you're on right now.
I'm on.
You don't have to go.
I'm on Verizon.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. When I was
have you paid your bill, bitch?
When I was
I had
living
this
here
month,
playing
maybe not next
video
month.
games, man, I had the best connection.
Yep.
I had the best fucking connection here. I was like, oh man, I can't leave. It has the best video game connection here.
Oh no, there's kind of a battle.
I know. I was able to jack
Someone
off while he was
unplugging-
playing video games. Like,
Someone may be unplugging your cord. Are you watching it?
what's that face for?
Because I'm making a point.
You
Anyway,
look hungry.
where did you? Jeez, where did you? I kind of am. All I've had was Angry Orchard. This episode.
Oh,
is
we're
sponsored
drinking the
by
same thing.
Angry Orchard. I'm having the green apple. You're having the basic shit. But
It's crisp
Angry
apple,
Orchard.
bitch. Fuck you.
It's 5% alcohol by volume, and it's naturally gluten free.
It's made from apples.
And this transition is sponsored by MTA. Never wants to run on the weekend, but during the week when we're recording, it likes to run. New York's MTA. So where did we leave off at? Where was I at?
Talking about fate and how everybody interconnects and friendships.
Right. So there's intersectionalities, I feel like, with your story and this. I mean, when I found out I was positive, what I was saying was that there were situations where people who I thought were my greatest friends ended up like just dropping me like a bad habit. And there were also people that I took time away from just to find myself and be comfortable. Because one thing I've learned as a kid and growing up to an adult is that if you're not willing and ready to deal with the consequences of telling somebody that you're married, telling somebody that you're positive, telling somebody that you're gay, if you're not ready for the worst response, you aren't ready to even talk about it. So I was kind of segueing to the fact that like I have a really good friend from high school. Her name is Davia. And I'll never forget this situation, but I was in Roslyn Station. I was living in Arlington at the time. I was coming back from my, I think, second appointment at Whitman Walker after finding out I was positive and getting my lab results. So I was at the station. She called me and she was asking me what I was doing. I think she wanted to play tennis or something. I can't remember. But I was like, yeah, I just came back from getting my labs. She was like, labs? I was like, yeah, girl. Like, I found out that my CD4 count was 24 and my viral load was like, I don't know. I think it was like 500,000 or something crazy. And she was just like, wait, what are you talking about? I was like, girl, I got HIV. I just found out. She was like, you never told me. And I was like, fuck, this is the worst way to try to like tell your best friend that like you found out you're positive.
Yeah.
And she told me she loved me, she was there for me, but our relationship was I was so comfortable with her that I knew that even in my head we had already had that conversation.
Right.
Like I knew that she was already okay with it. So when I told her, it was just like, girl, we've already talked about this. We talk about everything.
Yeah.
And it threw her off, but it's just funny. It's just funny that you say that because if you would tell anybody else like that, who you thought were your friend and they were just there for the moment, they would have ditched.
Yeah.
But for her, it was kind of like, damn, like, I wish you would have told me. I would have came and been there for you, but I'm here. I'll come see you tonight. Let's hang out. Let's go grab dinner. Let's talk about things.
Yeah, but I also think that the big thing is you can't get mad at people who like drop when things like that happen because it's just kind of a part of it. People grow and, they grow apart. And some grow together, and that's just how things are. Sometimes, somebody leaves your life, it's just be like, okay, well, it's time to move on to the next because you can't stay mad that they weren't there. Yeah.
Train.
Run a train on Patrick.
Only one time in my life. But anyway, go ahead.
How was that?
MTA. Ask MTA.
Come on. How was getting train run on you?
I was young, and it was an experience. Never again.
You're not gonna go into any more detail than that?
Never again.
I don't think his husband wants to hear that.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was just like, I think you try something once, and you're like, okay, it's good, and yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not for everybody.
Yeah.
Wasn't for me.
We had this one girl.
Talking about.
Gangbangs.
I was about to say, we had this one girl in high school. She grabbed a ride home from my homie, and his buddy was in the back seat, and he like looks in the back mirror, and she starts giving homeboy head in the back, and then he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And she reaches her hand up and just grabs his wiener. I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like, "So you guys flipped her?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Huh.
And when we were living in the barracks, obviously this. Sometimes you just have people running train on one girl.
Or one guy.
Or one guy. I mean, dude, it was weird. One night I remember I was walking.
This is like the big gangbang theory.
Yeah, the gangbang theory. I remember one night I was walking back from a bar hopping trip out into DC, and as I was walking back, there was like 6 dudes, lined up outside the door. I was like, "The fuck's going on here?" And they're like, "I'm waiting my turn." I was like, "Waiting your turn for what?" And they're like, her. And I like opened the door slightly, and it's just this chick getting plowed. I'm like, why don't you guys just hop on in there? I was like, why are you waiting your turn?
Some dudes don't like to fuck in front of other dudes. It's a thing.
But I was like, I mean, I get it.
How do you go after the 12-incher?
That's true. But they probably lined up by smallest first.
Guys aren't that smart. Straight guys. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
They're thinking with the head of their dick.
True.
Not the length.
True. You let the girthiest guy go first and open up the cavern for you.
Yes. There you go. That's how it goes.
I guess.
This conversation is.
Anyway, so let's segue back to the beginning then. I just feel like what I'll say after hearing what I heard, I'm being devil's advocate. This is a couple that's gay, right? What happened?
On Pornhub, there's the big gangbang theory.
It's got 71%. Look up Bridget the Midget.
Oh my god.
Stop it!
We're done. All right, we're done with porn. Sorry.
So, what I was saying was, being devil's advocate, I don't know. Like, I just feel like someone was sleeping with somebody and were exposed to HIV from that. I mean, a needle stick, I just need to know the percentage of I mean, I haven't heard recently that shit would make the news.
Well, maybe in a civilian case, yes. But here's my point. For him, this is one of his questions was, should I pursue this or should I just get out and have a good job waiting for me? And I'm like, you have to fight this. This is a lapse.
So what are they trying to do now? They're trying to kick him out of the military?
No, he's not getting kicked out, but he's getting out soon and he has a job lined up. And I'm like, fuck that. Because they're expecting you to not fight it, for this doctor to just skip away and not think anything of it. And there's so many service members out there with so many different situations, like Steve with his case, me with my case, that we fought it for a reason. And it sets a precedent for future people who come behind you with issues.
To be fucked over.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a medical provider's responsibility to provide patient-centered care.
Yes.
So that means asking.
I'm sorry, but Navy
Are
medicine
you taking your
failed
meds? No. Okay, give me a percentage of the time. Less than 50%? Yes. Okay, then what we're going to do is obviously we need to put you on a whole antiretroviral treatment. So we're going to get that ordered. You need to take this every fucking single day for the next 30 days or however many days he or she prescribes.
Right.
And come follow back in with follow-up testing on the 30th, after the post 30 days and then post 60 and 90. Every 30 days you need to come in for a rescreening.
Right.
That's how it should have been. Because we know there's new testing available, new generation testing that can catch your incubation period, I think 2 weeks out?
Okay, see, that is exactly. So this doctor, Navy medicine, failed this service member, and now his partner is also infected. And so the Navy has a responsibility to take care of both of them because of the providers, the primary care managers' inability to provide a quality patient-centered service. So I really feel bad for him, but I told him that he should definitely fight it because the military gets away with so much and that this is something they shouldn't get away with.
Yeah, there's one thing I know is that if you don't fight it, you're gonna get fucked over. Exactly. Like one of my best friends, he had gastric issues really bad and was having a bunch of issues, and probably should have been medically retired at some point after they diagnosed him, but he didn't even get that far because all this paperwork that you had was done incorrectly. You've failed 2 PT tests. Now we're going to administratively discharge you. And on his way out to get his physical done, the person who was doing a separation physical was like, dude, you are not cleared to leave at all. And then he just said, fuck it anyways, because he was so done with all this. He had been having such a rough year that he just left. And now he's having a really difficult time getting the care he needs from the VA on the outside. And it's weird because it's just I keep hearing more and more of these fucking horror stories, man. There's so many out there, and I hope we can share some of those stories more and more as our platform grows. I guess concluding, I'm not Navy. I never was Navy. So what would be the best thing for this particular person to do in this situation? Do they go to JAG? Bitch, do they go to NCIS? Bitch, I watch TV. I don't know. I want to file a grievance of care because this lady didn't fucking ask me and I got fucked over and now my husband is suffering from her neglect. Because that's negligence. Yeah. That's negligence right there. That's medical negligence. Yeah, she should have did everything within her power to make sure that particular patient was given every option to not have to deal with the diagnosis of HIV. That's just civil. That's not even military. I know, it's just common sense. Hello. And then for me, I would definitely, I told him already, but I really think that he should find a veteran legal service that's voluntary and just go from a civilian standpoint and sue them with civilian lawyers. Getting to sue somebody for medical negligence in the military. His husband's a civilian. Hard. The civilian can do it. The civilian. Okay, well, I'm saying, this to me, this is such a. I'm so dumbfounded by the fact that his husband is now infected because of a medical and military doctor did not do her job. I would just I would tell him look, dude, don't even worry about the job that you've got lined up outside because you need to take care of this first. Exactly. Because this first and foremost, you got sick in service because of the Navy, so now you need the medical care. For the rest of your life. And so does your husband. So you guys need to get that help because they fucked you over. Go national, fucking make headlines. When you look at pain and suffering, dude, that's millions of dollars. I mean, HIV care by itself without insurance, it's $1 million and almost
a quarter.
The biggest
Yeah.
thing that bankrupts Americans in the U.S. is medical care.
Yeah.
You don't want to be one of those people that have
Exactly.
to struggle with that. If you don't have to be one of those people, don't be one of those people.
But in this case, we just need to put the Navy on blast. That's some bullshit.
You need to, yes. Also, outside of HIV, it has to probably play a significant role in their emotional health as well, their kind of mental health, and also their relationship. Can you imagine how you would feel? Like, I'm thinking, just think about me. I'm like, was it really a needle stick? I mean, think about the strain that's in their marriage right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
it's much deeper than it's a deep cut to a womb in a marriage. And I think that the Navy should be held responsible for that, because regardless of what happened in terms of exposure,
Yeah.
I still feel like when you go to a provider and say, I've been exposed to HIV, that provider is supposed to do what they need to do to make sure that you're good to go.
Right.
When they don't do that, they're held responsible. So I think also looking at resources, like you said, the veterans legal assistance. I think also the body.com, THEBODY.com. It's a good resource for folks who have been diagnosed or living with HIV. And I think that also one should look at, again, legal action. I mean, it's unfair that someone has to deal with this, let alone their significant other, their spouse. So I definitely think that it's advantageous for him or them to pursue the necessary legal action, because the Navy should be held responsible for this. And we've seen what the military has done, and we talked about this in past episodes, to both of you, Steve and Renee, and then also like my mother. And so this is not something that's new. It's not something that's uncommon.
Yeah. Exactly. So with that said, as I'm eating french fries, see you for the next episode. God, these fries are good.
Dude, I'm telling you, Cajun fries, Five Guys, that's what's up.
All right. All right, we're good.
All right.
Oh, now we're good.
Perfect timing.
Perfect time. Yeah, for once.